In the world of Huffington Post and Min-Post and the blogosphere, I mean, I guess this is probably a better question for David coming from the Twin Cities Reader. Is there still room for the Alt Weekly, and has, I guess, the has that changed? Has what the Alt Weekly does change, or should it change?
Well, the Alt Weekly was historically in the business of not being the daily paper. So
Sure.
that was when I worked in Minneapolis and when I worked in Washington. That was sort of, you were defined by what you were not. That's not a very good definition going forward. And it's funny, but I don't think Alt Weeklies did any better job of leveraging audience or their sort of little of their head start around information. The problem is so much of what drives Alt Weeklies in terms of listings of information, of various options and stuff, gets so much better on the web. I do think that sort of some of the long form, I'm sorry, but this is a fetish of mine, that some of the long form that weeklies do, they shouldn't let go of it, because I see more and more, whether it's the Atavist or long reads or whatever, where people are back reading these big heaves. And I went to bed last night reading a huge long story on my iPad. If you think there's going to be 140, 150 embedded readers, I think there's a place at the table for weekly.
In the movie, you have, you talk about Gawker, and you showed the TV they have that shows what the top web hit stories are. I mean, is that dangerous? Is that the future? I mean, or is 10 years from now, is that going to be in the New York Times newsroom?
Right, you're referring to the big board. The
big board, yep.
Which Nick Denton proudly showcases as what readers want.
Mm-hmm.
He says, we're not trying to tell readers what to focus on, and, you know, stories about corruption in Albany, which is the capital of New York, might be important, but they're not sexy, and they're not what people want to read. And I do think that it would be dangerous if we were only reading the stories that have the flame next to it, you know, with thousands of people having read it, and we only focus on those ones that are hot. You know, that's not to say that what Nick Denton's doing at Gawker, and Gawker itself is not also, you know, a sort of valid player within the information diet that we get.
It's this march of we're so different and we're so, meanwhile Gawker's hiring reporters, meanwhile we're engaging in a lot more active dialogue, meanwhile,
right.
You know, Gawker's doing enterprise reporting, and we're looking. I don't look at my traffic numbers constantly, but I looked hard at them about 4 months ago, and it does influence what I do. Like I wrote about Gannett and their bonuses this week, and I know that no one in relative terms will read that. I don't care. I want to write about that, and I think it's important. But at least I should know that going in, that it's not going to set the world on fire. And you know what? You never know. I mean, my story about the Tribune Co., which was a story about newspaper, was huge on the Twitter, was huge on the web. But in terms of, like, is that where we're headed? Gannett just announced that at USA Today they're going to start bonusing people based on traffic.
Sure.
So we're already there, and so I guess I should turn this conversation towards sex so it becomes link bait and we get lit up and generate a lot.
Maybe if Dave and I start kissing,
yes.
The video will get mild.
Is there another book in the works, or is Night of the Gun, is that it?
I would like to, I want to do a book for this.
Oh, okay.
And so where I'm filming you during the interview, and then I figure at it, and that becomes an embedded media file. I don't want to do any nonfiction that doesn't include rich media files and transparent reporting. If I was doing Night of the Gun, I would want those two things smushed together. I think there's going to be a lot of readers out there. And publishers, whenever I talk to them about it, you can just see their eyes cross in boredom about it. It's just like how uninterested they are. I've been approached on some other books, but that's what my interest
Sure.
is making a different sort of book. And so far, I've come up with ideas that I think 4 or 5 people total would buy. I'm not really commercial. I don't want to do one of those books that no one reads. I'm not one of those people who's like, there's a book in me that needs to be out. My book needs an audience for me to do it, whatever it is.
Are you able to share any of the ideas, or are they in your head?
No, you know what? I think they're so white hot. Let's just say there's a shopping mall I live by that's 95% completed, right? And it's got a ski hill, and it's got the wave pool, and and no one's there, right?
Yeah.
And it's built in the New Jersey swamp, so you can kind of fill in the backstory about, what, Uncle Guido did to get it built, and all the backstory to it. And so it represents the absolute sort of peak of shopping mania. Shopping is entertainment, and real estate mania, real estate. And so it would be a story about how America went to the mall and lost its mind. Here's the punchline. What's the place called?
What's it called?
Xanadu. Come on!
Xanadu.
Now nobody wants that book. Nobody wants to read that book, but I would love to write it.
Yeah.
It's just to walk around the place, because it's bigger than the Mall of America, and it's empty. Or I don't know if it's bigger, but it's as big.
But it would
And
make
it's-
a good miniseries.
Huh?
A good miniseries on HBO.
An empty shopping mall.
A sort of
It's your good
Tony
one.
Soprano type.
There you go again.
sort of
Sure.
Yeah, find
about the
whatever,
government.
find whoever's buried in the parking lot and dig them up.
Right.
Okay, we'll collaborate on that.
Okay.
Increase your hands. We were actually deep kissing just
Exactly.
it went on. Sort of going beard to beard.
When we were talking about the Xanadu
Yeah.
mall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's